Hey, what's up, fellas? Welcome to My Life Monday with Mike, your mentor. Appreciate you guys checking this out and being with me if you're watching the replay. Thank you for tuning in. Going to be a super short one tonight because I'm whooped, man. I'm tired. Went swimming with my daughter down at the community pool we have in our neighborhood and met some other kids, and me, well, maybe you don't know me, but when I'm around kids, one thing leads to another, and pretty soon I'm not only throwing my daughter through the air, but I'm throwing two other kids through the air repeatedly over and over. So I got a real good workout for the last hour, and that chlorine in my eyes just sucking the life out of me. And to be honest with you, I kind of forgot what happened this week. It's just been a blur. But there is one thing that I do want to talk to you about because it's fresh in my mind that I was reminded of that happened over the weekend. And I don't want to go into details because I want to honor the story of the person. But I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but you've done your best. You've really put a lot of time. You've really put a lot of thought into planning something, into building something, into creating something, into doing something, whatever that is for you, right? Whatever your love language is that you express others. And then when you go ahead and you do that, you don't get the return that you think you should get, or you don't, it's not met with the same value that you think it should be met with. Or maybe you do that and you hear things like, well, why couldn't you do more? Or why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you try that? Right? We've all been in those type of situations, and I think it's very easy to lose track of whose expectations we really have to meet. And I would just challenge you to think about if you can relate to that, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whatever situation that's in, to ask yourself, one, why do I have these expectations? Or better yet, why do I have to live up to this person's expectations? Who are they to me? And two, remember this thing. If someone is putting expectations on you and you're allowing yourself to carry the weight of those expectations, then that's your fault. And I don't say that in a mean way. I say that to free you from those expectations, because that person's expectations don't have to be your expectations. No one ever said they did. And secondly, you have to realize something. Like, people who take and put unfair expectations on other people, they've been hurt in some way. They have some wound that they've never, for whatever reason, been able to deal with, and maybe they're still working it out, and they unfairly place that on you because they haven't yet figured out how to deal with that in their own lives. And I'm not saying that that's right, and I'm not saying that that's fair. I'm just telling you that you don't have to live your life based on their expectations. A lot of people make a lot of rules, a lot of, I guess just a lot of rules about how they should live. My two rules for my life are pretty simple. One, love God with all your heart. And two, love your neighbor as you would want them to love you. And for me, that can go a little bit deeper, but I'm a big believer in honor, and in honoring people. And part of that involves me trying to put myself in their shoes and to look at things from their situation, which always isn't the easiest thing to do. And I think it's part of my natural personality, where maybe sometimes people say like I'm too optimistic, or I give people too much benefit of the doubt. And maybe I do. I just expect the best out of people. That's my own expectation. I expect that when they're saying something to me, or they're telling me something, that it's the truth and they're going to do it, and that they mean it. I'm sure there's been times where people have made fun of me or said unkind words to me, and it's totally went over my head because um, I didn't perceive it as that. Or maybe I did, and I just realized that, you know what, that's their problem, not mine. I'm not going to let their false expectations hold weight over me, because that's draining, man. That just sucks the living life out of you. And I see how it affects people's lives, and I noticed how that was affecting this person's life in this example. And it was pretty cool to be able to speak with them and let them know that, and to see the impact that had on their life, to just remind them that they didn't have to live up to this other person's expectations. Um, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean you don't have to accept responsibility for things. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to do your best. But, you know, when you're placing too much stock in what other people are thinking about you and your performance, then that's a slippery slope. And the devil is going to use everything that he can to attack your mind and to get you so focused on what that person thinks and their expectations for you, that it's going to just put you over tilt, right? It's going to just drive you crazy to where you can't concentrate on anything else, and you can't receive that love and the appreciation that the other people who notice what you're doing and the way that you're living your life and how you're going about that really do care. You focus way too much on the bad versus focusing on the good. So that's it for tonight. I just want to encourage you, don't let other people's false expectations ruin your life. You are free from that. I give you permission. Sometimes that's all we need, is for someone to just give us permission to live our lives and to not carry around those false expectations. So I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow for Tuesday Thoughts. Have a good night.